What? The studio that cut Batgirl is greedy?
Yeah.
What?
Can't believe that. It's crazy.
What?
It's crazy.
I need a minute to reassemble my mind after you just blew it. Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List here. Welcome to February. I don't know how it is right now when you guys are watching this, but when I walked outside, it felt like the end of March.
It is so nice outside.
It's warm.
I got the old two-wheeler out. We're cruising around town. Say hi. Give me a honk. Give me a wave if you see me.
Run them over.
Don't do that.
No, we're going to cut that because that's me implying murder. Anyways, yeah, I feel like February, generally speaking, has been getting or becoming a bigger and bigger month. Like February was almost kind of like the second dump month. Mm-hmm. Well, really, you could almost say January, February, March. And then there was a point in time where there was at least one big one that came out. And I think that's been fairly consistent throughout this past decade here.
Yeah, I would say people are itching to get back to the pictures.
But this January was also a little bit better.
That's true.
So
I think post-COVID, I think a lot of that has changed because people are starting to realize, like, hey, even though it is a slower month, we can still get money. As like greedy as that sounds, like, hey, we can still put this out and it'll do okay.
You're telling me you're calling the filmmakers and the studios out there greedy?
Yeah,
how dare you? I have never heard those two words in the same sentence. What? The studio that cut Batgirl is greedy?
Yeah.
What?
Can't believe that. It's crazy.
What?
It's crazy.
I need a minute to reassemble my mind after you just blew it. All right, sarcasm aside. Yeah, like I said, February, a little bit better month here, I would say. And we're going to get a little bit more into that. But one of the big ones coming out here this month, I would argue one of the directors that partially kind of made February the bigger month than it was, Matthew Vaughn. Mm-hmm. He's done well in this month before. I hope he does it again here, but
we'll see.
He brings to the question spy movies that are not James Bond. What are some of the best ones? We were kind of discussing this earlier today here, so we thought we would kind of use this as our opening spotlight here today. Best spy movies that are not James Bond.
Not James Bond.
I think we kind of opened up the definition to spy. We never really discussed it, but I'm looking at yours, and there's one that I definitely thought about, but is very loosely spy, and one I'm kind of curious how you're going to justify as a spy movie.
All right.
But it also may be because I just never finished that one, so maybe you know something I don't.
Ooh.
I started it, I got busy, haven't gotten back to it since.
Okay. I think I might know what it was, and I loved it.
I know. It's not like I'm avoiding it. I'm just haven't gotten to it
If
yet.
you and I were spies, who do you think would be the better spy?
Me.
Why is that?
I sneak up on you all the time without even trying.
That's true, but little does Nick know, I got him. Yo! Oh, no, I missed!
And I think we just proved it right then and there.
I didn't want to hit your face.
Doesn't matter. You still missed. You missed all of this.
That's true. We'll
you wanted to miss my face. You had the bigger target.
That's true. I was aiming for the shield. It was a big,
and you hit
big target.
You hit Isaiah, I think. I don't know. We'll have to replay that.
It's back there.
I'll have to replay it. I didn't even see where it went. I was fully about to die.
It literally, you like Matrix. It went like right when you went like this. It went like right there.
So yeah, we just determined Nick's a better spy.
Yep.
Open and shut case right there. You're done.
Boom.
But let's talk about some other great spies out there. Like I said, best spies that are not James Bond. We broke this up into a few interesting categories here. I want to kind of spread it out because if we would have just said a general discussion, there would have been only like one that I would have just kept mentioning. So I wanted for myself to challenge myself a little bit here.
All right.
So let's start with the simple one. Best action. Spy movies are all about the gadgets, the fighting, the big car chases. What is some of the best spy movies that have the best action? Ryan, I have you listed here first. What is your first one?
I decided to go with the Bourne series, Jason Bourne series. I don't know. See, and also like spies, I think you can also like break it down because he's almost kind of like an agent, even though he's running from other government agencies. But I view those as I would clump those into the spy movie genre. And young Matt Damon, phenomenal. The action sequences were great. I remember specifically the one where he jumps in between the two buildings. Everybody remembers that one because like. This is back, I don't even remember what years these came out, but actually seeing a camera person jump through the window with him behind him, like that kind of filmmaking was super cool. And I've always had a special place for the first 3 Bourne movies. Last one, not very much.
I know you're clumping them all together here, and that's all right. But is there one you would say specifically? I'm just curious.
I would say go back and watch the first one. Just it was kind
that's
of
Identity, right?
Bourne Identity.
Bourne
Yep.
Identity.
Just at least it was something new to me, and it was that you watch these movies at certain times of your life, and they become your pivotal movies, and maybe that was just that one for me for my time, but it was awesome.
Little babyface Matt Damon there, just fresh out of Good Will Hunting. Yeah, he was young during that.
Yeah.
I think another one that kind of redefined the genre of spy, especially in the 2000s, the Mission Impossible franchise. Mm-hmm. The one I'm going to specifically say here is Mission Impossible Fallout. Multiple scenes, like 3, made me sit in my chair and just gasp, oh my gosh, how did they shoot that? Oh my gosh, this Tom Cruise guy is psychotic.
He's crazy. Wild man.
I mean, he is kind of crazy.
But psychotic.
Yeah. But like filmmaking crazy and psychotic too. So he's all the crazy and psychotic. I don't know. There's just a few action. It makes me wonder why I haven't had a chance to see Dead Reckoning yet. I don't know. I missed it. I feel bad.
I do too.
Because the work these guys put into it. They've earned it. They've earned my time to go check this out, and I didn't give it to them. That's on me. But Fallout was fantastic. I think I saw it twice in the theater, at least twice. So that's with my limited time. I very rarely see a movie twice in the theater. I got to really, really like it to go there twice. But that one had it for me.
That one was hard, and that kind of goes into I think sometimes what really sells people on movies, especially I would say action sequences, is when you hear, oh, they really did it this way. Or they did this to do it. I always found that more appealing than when somebody would say like, we did this to, like, you're probably going to have to cut this anyways. But when they're using what they did to promote the film rather than the film comes out and they say, oh, they did that way, that's super cool. Like using how you made it to, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
No, not at all. But you seem confident in what you're saying.
Well, we can cut this. I mean,
I also wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, for Oppenheimer, they didn't come out and say, "Oh, we recreated a nuclear blast and we redid this and we shot this all practical and we did." It's coming out like they actually made a real blast. They actually did this. It's not. They're not promoting themselves doing the super cool stuff. It's other people promoting them doing the super cool stuff. If that makes sense.
So what you're trying to say is they had a blast making a blast?
Yes. Yep, 100%. We can cut all that, but yeah, I got to figure out a way to say that better.
I want that on a T-shirt for Oppenheimer. They had a blast making a blast.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. Another huge part of spy movies in the spy genre is the villain. Even the worst spy movies can be saved by a really good villain. So let's talk best villains here. I'm going to say he's not the best villain as far as diabolical plan, but he was one of the best villains I enjoyed watching. Mm-hmm. And that was Chris Evans' character in The Gray Man. Mm. Now, again, I'm not saying this is the greatest spy movie. It's pretty cliche. The action is really good. In fact, I think I almost did consider that for best action, but I don't know what it is. Chris Evans, one of the nicest guys in Hollywood, but man, do I love seeing him as a villain. Like if they ever do a live action What If for Marvel where they do that storyline where Captain America was Hydra, bring Chris Evans back. I have vehemently said don't bring Chris Evans back as Captain America, but if they do the evil Hydra storyline, bring him back.
Bring him back.
Because as awesome as he was as Captain America, I could not wait to see him as Hydra Captain America.
That would be pretty cool.
It would be awesome. It would be so much fun. So I think that one has a pretty good villain and okay story, really great action.
Yep.
How about you? What are you putting down for best villain here?
Did I have Bad Times?
You had Sicario.
Sicario. Have you seen Sicario?
I have seen Sicario.
See, now this is kind of that weird agent spy.
This is the one where I kind of said
missionary.
we're kind of stretching the definition of spy, but I would count it. They're
Yes.
CIA, aren't they?
Yeah, they're CIA, and they're like, how do you want to say it? You don't really know if, what's his name?
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, you don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. Is he playing a double agent? Is he letting people get off the hook? What is going on? Like, that's, in my opinion, even if he wasn't necessarily a quote-unquote villain, he very easily could be a villain, and we just don't know it. I loved these films, both of them, because they walk that fine line of, okay, are you actually a bad guy or are you a good guy? It's very hard to tell, and through their actions, they do both things. So that's kind of where I knew I wanted to put that somewhere, and I think that's a great movie.
I think it's a good pick too. Because also, I mean, when you talk about any movie in the spy or superhero genre or anything like that, I guess you could really count this as storytelling in general. One of the greatest quotes I ever heard was, every villain is the hero of their own story. Mm-hmm. But the only way the audience members is convinced of that is if the villain, in this case, Benicio del Toro's character, or maybe kind of sort of villain, you question it. You know it's a gray area because it's like, well, he truly thinks he's the hero.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to pull those two characters out of the movie into real life, him and Emily Blunt, and be like, okay, who's the hero here?
Yeah.
Like, with no hesitation, no sarcasm, Benicio del Toro's character would be like, well, I am. I'm doing the right thing here. I'm doing what I think is right and justified. So I think that's a pretty good pick. But let's laugh it up a little bit here. Let's bring it up a little bit more lighthearted. Let's talk about best comedic here. Because I think we were both leaning towards one here. I actually have this one as my alternate. So I'm going to let you take it away here. What's your best comedic spy movie?
I have to go with the Austin Powers franchise. Probably more specifically, I really liked Goldmember, but that might have been also that's the first Austin Powers film I watched, and it was hilarious. Mike Myers is a comedic genius. He's so funny. And having seen James Bond, having seen all of the traditional spy movies, I thought it was just fantastic. It was great. Had another callback with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is in that one.
That's right. Yeah. I totally forgot about that opening scene.
Yeah. So like it was a fun spy movie that is funny.
You know, I think I'm in the same boat as you in that I think out of all the Austin Powers, I probably saw Goldmember first.
Yeah.
And I probably saw that before I saw any James Bond movie. So it's kind of interesting. You watch it, and as a kid, you kind of get it, or maybe you like me, and you're just kind of laughing because everyone else is laughing, so you want to be part of it. But then you watch James Bond and all that stuff, and then you watch it, or even before you watch James Bond, you watch again as you're older, like you get a little bit more of it. And then you watch the James Bond franchise, and you see some of the spoofs and stuff they're doing, and you get it even more.
Yeah, like the first time I watched it, I didn't get everything, obviously, but then as I watched it again years later, it's like, there's some callbacks in that I didn't know were callbacks or what they were referencing, and that's really funny.
So the one I am going to go with here, and this was my number one pick, so you didn't steal this from me or anything, so forgiven this time.
Awesome.
But watch your back next time.
Oh.
You've been stealing my picks, is what I'm trying to say here. Spy Kids 2. This is, again, a little bit of nostalgia here. What was that?
Flugel.
Okay, it
From
looks
Spy
like
Kids.
Okay, it looks like you're giving me the bird.
No, it's an F.
Okay, but from my angle, it looked like you were giving me the bird.
That's what I was doing.
I just want to know up there, did it look like he was giving me the bird, or could you see it? I can't tell if that's... see, it looks like...
That's the F.
But from my angle, it looked like you're giving me... Like, okay,
Flugel.
We're going to have to cut this, obviously, but this is what I see.
Yeah, I was trying to give you that.
Is that
I'm
what
giving the audience the flu?
First of all, I think that was more the first movie.
Was it more the first movie?
Yes.
I just remember I did that.
Second of all, did he get away with giving us as kids the bird now that I'm thinking about it?
He did. He did. Good for him.
Well, now I'm going to have to rewatch the first one because I'm almost positive that's the first one here. No, the second one's the one where they're on the island.
Oh, okay.
That's the one with Steve Buscemi as the scientist.
Man.
Yeah, who creates
Friend
all
of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show, Steve Buscemi. He creates all the monsters. He has one of the greatest lines in a kids movie ever, where he does that thing where he's like, "Do you think God hides because he's scared of what he created?" And then the kids behind him just kind of looking and go crazy. And as kids, we laughed at it, but as adults, we watch that and we go, "Oh my God, did he just crack the code?"
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing about Robert Rodriguez movies, though, in general, is he does get a lot of great cast members to do these kid movies and take it seriously. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the effects aren't great. The action's cheesy, but it's like if a kid were to make a high-budget spy movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is something me and my friends and family members and cousins would do in my backyard.
Yep. With Nerf guns.
With Nerf guns, exactly.
Yep.
So I gotta shut up. And yeah, I am picking Spy Kids 2. I don't know. That's just the one I liked the most for the most part. So
let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let's take a quick break here and talk about the Marshall 6 Theater here in Marshall, Minnesota. February sees the return of Phantom events over at CEC Theater. So check out their website, see what sort of special showtimes they have for you guys. Also, some great deals throughout the week as well. Tuesdays is $5.50 Tuesdays, where all movies all day are just $5.50. So check that out every Tuesday over at the Marshall 6 Theater here in Marshall, Minnesota.
To get ourselves a treat.
But let's end this conversation with best overall spy movie. That's not James Bond. I'll kick us off on this one if that's all right.
Yeah.
This is the one I've almost wanted to mention, and actually probably could mention for every other one of these categories. Mm-hmm. Hence why I picked it as best overall. Matthew Vaughn, we mentioned him before. Kingsman: The Secret Service. We've talked about how Bourne Identity kind of brought or sort of reinvented a little bit James Bond. We talked about how Mission Impossible kind of did the same thing. This one threw everything on the table. It is almost a spoof like Austin Powers, but it's got a serious enough action where you can't really call it a kid's movie.
Yep.
It's got a great villain, and it's got a serious villain plan, so it's not a parody, but it's like the greatest 2-hour homage to all of James Bond and spy movies in general. It checks all those boxes. It has great acting. I'm going to mention the action again because, again, that church scene, poetry, pure poetry. It's violent and bloody poetry.
Yeah.
And don't worry, I'm fine mentally, but it is poetry in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, he's the man in this one. He's probably one of the best James Bond villains ever.
Yeah.
He hasn't even been in a James Bond movie. But I don't know. Kingsman: The Secret Service, I'll never forget my first time watching that one.
Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback off that a little bit. Those films are great. The first one that came out, it blew up. I didn't think it was going to be quite as it wouldn't land. I didn't think it would land in the public sphere as much as it did, and it did a fantastic job. Great film. But
with that, what's your overall pick here? This is the one that I'm kind of curious about.
So mine is a little bit different because it is going more, I would say, with spy activities than actually the spy themselves. So with this pick, just a great film in my opinion, I'm going with Bad Times at the El Royale. This has your classic a bunch of people locked in an area in a cabin or a house. In this example, a hotel, which is in between two states, California and Nevada, and you know something's up, but you can't put your finger on it. And then Chris Hemsworth shows up as a faux Marilyn Manson or Charlie Manson. Not Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, not Marilyn Manson.
It's not. But then it turns out that this is a very special hotel where every room is recorded and videotaped, and the workers at the hotel are in charge of getting dirt on people, whether it's politicians, rock stars, and they kind of allude to having films from JFK to like all these famous things and kind of like the quote unquote conspiracy theories that they have about people. They say, well, yeah, that happened here. We have the film of it. So it almost is like a conspiracy theory itself. Like, is this a real place? Do they actually have this? Or is this, and then you kind of see how there's multiple different stories that intertwine here. And I wouldn't say it's a true spy James Bond movie, but I would say it's in that spy covert, covering up, watching, listening.
Yours is almost the most realistic spy movie.
Yes.
You kind of went, actually, now that I look at it, you kind of went more realism with a lot of yours. Bourne is kind of the grounded version of Spies, a little bit CIA. Sicario, a little bit more CIA. Austin Powers, that's the only one you kind of went out there with. But yeah, yours, you kind of went the realistic route with all of yours, which I respect for sure. But I mean, yeah, the way you explain it, yeah, I definitely consider that spy movie. That's because they're getting dirt. It's blackmail. It's all that stuff.
Who's your boss? Who do you give this to? Well, management. Yeah, like that's just, it's great.
Who's management?
And like the acting in this, it's got Armie Hammer, Jeff Briggs, Dakota Johnson. I mean, it's
John Hamm's in it.
John Hamm's. It's loaded. It's awesome.
Yeah, and Chris Hemsworth is having some of the most fun he's ever had on a film set, I think, in this movie.
Yeah.
A little bit I have seen. Again, still have to finish it, but good pick overall.
It's good.
But with that, let's move on to the weekly preview. Talk about the movies coming out here this weekend. We mentioned spy movies. We mentioned Matthew Vaughn. There's a reason for that. Argylle, premiering this weekend in theaters. From director Matthew Vaughn comes another reinvention of the spy genre. Bryce Dallas Howard plays a writer whose latest book accidentally predicts real-life events in the world of espionage. Now everyone is after her to see what she knows and potentially write the next chapter.
Whoa.
How crazy would that be, though, if, like, because, you know, there's always, I have actually thought of this would be kind of funny, is like, because you have all these people who write these spy novels or write movies and all that. Like, someone had to have accidentally predicted something. That, whether we knew it happened or not.
Yeah.
It had to have happened at one point, right?
Even movies where they have like, oh, this person's this, and they're going over to do that. It's like, do you think something like that really happened? Even not saying not ones that are like based on true stories.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But like this kind of vague premise, it's got to have happened somewhere. I mean, how many spies?
That's my point. Is there have been so many novels from so many different writers all across the world, like. Statistically, somebody had to have written a story like this and then came up with it or something like that, right?
Had to have.
I feel like. Anyways, who doesn't star in this movie, by the way? Like I already mentioned, Bryce Dallas Howard also stars Sam Rockwell, Henry Cavill, John Cena, Bryan Cranston, Ariana DeBose, Sofia Boutella, and Dua Lipa. I'm sure I missed someone. But basically, this movie kind of jumps back and forth between the book world that Bryce Dallas Howard writes about the adventures of Agent Argylle and the real world. So some of these actors are caricatures. So like Henry Cavill, he plays Agent Argylle. He gets to play like the stoic, like this is his James Bond audition tape, essentially. But then you have Sam Rockwell, who's essentially the real life like version of like the spy and everything, and he's a little bit more jokey about it. Like he's almost a little bit more
campy.
Yeah. Whereas when you picture Spy, you picture him being like, "Well, hello, miss," and then you see the first time Sam Rockwell, he's like, "I'm such a fan." Yeah. But they both kick butt, so it's awesome. You have any other thoughts on this movie?
No, I think it looks good. You can definitely tell the Kingsman. I don't want to, like...
You could see the Kingsman fingerprints of him working on this.
And I'm curious as to, I wonder if maybe there'll be either some sort of Easter egg or cameo.
There almost already is. There's that one part where it's like multicolored smoke and everything going on, and it reminded me exactly of the head blowing up scene in the first Kingsman, where it's like multicolored and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When I heard about this movie, I heard Matthew Vaughn was doing it. I have been super excited ever since I heard the first trailers drop for this. So I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while, actually, and I'm super excited for it. But also coming out here this weekend, I'm pretty sure everything else is streaming service here, so really kind of the only option for theaters. Yeah. But coming to Peacock, the story of Bosco, based on a real-life story where a man who is nicknamed Bosco successfully escaped a federal max security prison. He did this so that he could see his kid who was born while he was incarcerated. For those of you who like to root for the bad guy like I do, but you don't want to here because you read based on a true story, it should be worth mentioning in the area of transparency, he was only in prison, and this is according to one website I heard here. I didn't even know this is a thing. Quote, attempted possession of marijuana, end quote. So does that even mean he got a hold of it, or did they catch him in the bust or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look, wherever you stand on the debate of drugs and all that, fine, you have your opinion. This feels like a little bit overkill to be in a federal max prison facility, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm sure maybe for the film they're gonna because he made it sound like he was in there for life. Like there was
That's what the guard says, I think.
Yeah. So what the real story of it, but I'm guessing the real story is him breaking out, which I think is what's going to happen in the movie. Well, so
there's also the moment where they show in the trailer the part where he throws the sheets out of the window. Like, did it start from that? Because this was 2006.
Yeah.
So it was a while ago. I don't know who the first person was to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's got to be,
anyways.
It looks interesting, though. And it's weird seeing Tyrese Gibson in, like, a serious role, not a...
Well, he did try being serious during Morbius.
His
whole, like, 50...
Was in that?
The fact that you don't even remember he was in that also speaks wonders. But I agree with you. Yes, he's doing a little bit more reserved Tyrese here. This isn't Fast and Furious Tyrese, for sure.
We got our cars in space. They did. They went to space.
Yep, they did.
They went to space.
They did do that. They went to space.
Yeah.
I still can't believe they did that. They went to space. All right. Anyways, also coming out here this weekend, a documentary named Dario Argento Panico, or just called Panico too. Like I said, this one is a documentary. It's coming straight to Shudder because this is a documentary about the life of Dario Argento, who was an Italian filmmaker. Very well-respected Italian filmmaker, I should say. I don't know. You're a little bit more closer to the horror genre. Are you familiar with him and his work a little bit?
I can't necessarily say I've seen a lot of his films, but I know he had some brilliant horror films that a lot of people talk about for inspiration or groundbreaking, or the way he approached filmmaking and how it was vastly different, especially with kind of Italian filmmaking. So it looks good. I really wish I had Shudder. Maybe I'll be able to find it on YouTube or something. But it's I do like these kind of documentaries where they talk about filmmakers and like telling the story of how they tell their stories is it's interesting to me. So
that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah,
I like that. Also coming out here, like I said, a lot of streaming stuff here. Also coming to Netflix, an animated movie named Orion and the Dark. This was written by the same guy who wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. No, I'm not kidding. Look that up. It basically is a movie that follows a young kid who meets night, the visual embodiment of night. He brings nighttime every end of the day, I guess, is the proper way to put it. And with the help of other entities that kind of are part of nighttime, like dreaming, I did think it was funny. The little bug was like insomnia. So he would just park right under your ear and be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm getting fired. And then the guy just woke right up. And it's like, that was kind of funny. But basically these guys, they try to team up and help this kid with some of his greatest fears. One of them being, being afraid of the dark.
Yep.
Yeah, kids sometimes are afraid of that. It does have a pretty interesting voice cast as well. Another friend of the show, Paul Walter Hauser.
Yep.
He's voicing a character here on this one. Angela Bassett in this one. Colin Hanks, and voicing the kid is Jacob Tremblay.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think it does have a lot of voice power behind it. And I think if there are a lot more kind of jokes like the insomnia little bug guy, I think this one could be kind of funny too.
Yeah, it reminds me of kind of like more like the Inside Out, but for almost nature. Like basically instead of inside your head, it's what's happening outside your window or night, day, dreaming. So like that's kind of the feel I got from it. So yeah, I don't know. It's going. You said straight to Netflix.
Straight to Netflix. Yeah. Also, finally coming out here, another animated movie, The Tiger's Apprentice. This one's coming straight to Paramount Plus. Again, another animated movie. Apparently, this was a book series. I don't know if it was like a short book series or if it was like kind of an actual novel series here. But basically, it talks about a kid who is part of a lineage known as the Guardians. And basically, they have this power to protect the Earth from these darkness, sort of evil forces and everything like that. Look, I'm going to be right up front. This one is a very, very cliched story. Like, as you watch the trailer, it's like, oh, you're the chosen one. Oh, here's the dark forces. They want to just make darkness in the world, classic stuff. That being said, the animation looks pretty good. Yep. And I would say the action looks really, really fun. Probably not since, like, it kind of gave me Kung Fu Panda vibes, and maybe that's just because there's a new Kung Fu Panda coming out this year. Yeah. But it did look like they at least kind of had fun with that.
When the dad first transforms into the tiger and it's like black, and orange, I thought that's a really cool take on a tiger. That looked sweet. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, nope, just regular tiger. But it almost...
he's got to cut down on the lighting bill on his tiger transformation.
Yeah. It did kind of give me like right away the turning red vibes. Like the girl turns into the panda. He turns into not panda.
I don't think the boy turns into anything. I think he just has the power of the Guardian. But there's a bunch of other groups of people who each represent like zodiac signs. Like there's one who turns into a dragon who protect the Guardian. Okay. So the Guardians of the Guardian. Yeah. I never got that. Yeah. That's like the Red Guard for Palpatine. Like, why do you need Red Guard?
He's Palpatine. He's the last Skywalker.
He's Palpatine.
It's all right.
No. You don't need it. Red Guard never
unlimited power.
The Red Guard never accomplished anything in any Star Wars movie. I'm just saying.
That's true. It's true.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Like I said, I think the action does look kind of fun in this one. So you have Paramount Plus. I think there are worse ways to spend your time here on this one. But with that, that's everything going on here. Let's move on to some number one recommends. Ryan, I have you listed first. Do you have anything?
Yeah. For my number one recommend, I'm going with an Oscar-nominated film, The Holdovers. I was lucky enough to watch this just the other day, and I thought it was, first off, beautifully shot. It looked like it's actually from the 70s, like a real 70s movie, on film, on my VHS player, on my tube TV. Looked great. But second, Paul Giamatti. Oh, he's always been one of my favorite actors. His range that he can do. He has just an outstandingly strong performance in this film. I thought he was great. He carried it so well. The rest of the supporting cast are also phenomenal. They were great. But it kind of reminded me of, I don't want to say olden day movies, but there's no big superhero. There's no big like plot to the movie. There's no big there's events that happen in the movie, but it's not like this grand view of a film. It is, here's two characters, here is a short time in their lives where everything intertwines, and then it goes its separate ways. And it's just it's beautiful. I really liked the movie.
Yeah, I mentioned this one to you because it came out to Peacock, and I feel like this is a good time also as well. Check out our Facebook and Instagram page. I'm going to put that on the screen here again. What I did is I've gone through as many of the Oscar nominees as I could, found out where they were on available for streaming services. Not necessarily, I didn't include any where you could rent them on streaming services because I'm trying to save you guys money out there. But The Holdovers is on Peacock, and I'll be updating that weekly as we head closer and closer to the Oscars. I'll be letting you guys know where you can find some of these movies on their various streaming services. But yeah, that is one as well. I recommended that one in the past. Agree with you 100% on that one. It is a simple movie, but it draws you in. Yep. And I think a huge part of that is because of Giamatti. But so for me, I didn't really have a chance to watch anything new as far as movies and TV. So I'm gonna kind of cheat here and recommend another YouTube channel. Oh. I know that's kind of anti to us. It's not a great business decision here, but one YouTuber I watch, he does some history videos that are kind of funny. They're called Oversimplified. Basically, he takes a certain area or a certain kind of story of history and oversimplifies it. And he does it in kind of his own unique animation. It's very simple animation. It's like just a few steps down from South Park animation.
Ooh, South Park is very pristine. That animation of
You know what I mean.
of the Canadian heads just
Yeah, the heads don't even
yeah, they're just
round heads for the most part. But he still tells the story of these historical events very well. He just did the Punic Wars, the first one, and now he just did the second one, and I was so gripped on this one. If you like history at all, check out a few of his videos. He doesn't post very often, and he jokes about that, but when they do come out, I'm always watching them. I drop everything when I'm doing, and I'm watching it quick, so that's for all you history nerds out there like myself. But that is going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Argylle premiering this weekend. Check it out at the Marshall 6 Theater. You may run into me as I watch it 2, 3, 4 times.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's great. I'm hoping it's that great where I want to watch it every day.
Yep.
This may be me hyping it up a little bit. This might be my Exorcist believer.
That
what you did last year. I'm hyping it in my mind here. I don't know. I think it's going to be good. For myself and Ryan Meyerberg, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.